Well, my first trip to South America was to El Salvador. And El Salvador doesn't even qualify as a third world country.
Okay.
If you've never been there, you're never going to. First of all, El Salvador is like the worst drug movie you've ever heard of. It literally is run by cartels.
Right.
There's 3 major cartels. They run everything. Government's everything. So I'm not told before we go there that the promoter for this is one of the drug lords. One of the cartel drug lords. Like this is his entertainment. You know, he brings in all these pro wrestlers. He runs these shows. He sells tickets, but really this is for his family and his friends. So we fly down.
Something for him to do. It's not like it's a money-making venture.
Exactly.
It's just fun.
Well, the money to do these shows is like outrageous. Like you don't get paid this in wrestling. So it's like, hey, here's this big chunk of money. Cool. First class plane ticket down there. We come out of the airport. In the airport, there's police with semi-automatics. Here comes the cartel and their guys. And they're coming with larger semi-automatics. They're in the airport meeting us at the gate. We are told by, I guess, the head henchman, I don't know who he is, says, listen, I want you to understand, as long as you're with us, nothing bad will ever happen to you. We are here to protect you. There's 10 of these guys that look like they just stepped out of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, semi-automatic machine guns, body armor, flag, Kevlar, and I'm thinking to myself, first I'm like, oh, this is the police. Oh, it's the government. They're being nice to us. No. We work for the boss, for the cartel. We take you to the hotel. We do all this.
Openly saying it.
And the cops, every cop in the airport is just finding a quiet place in a corner somewhere to go. They want to have nothing to do with this. They have walked away from it. We're being escorted. We do not have to go through customs. We do not. Our luggage is picked up for us, put in a nice car. We're all taking the limos to this fantastic resort. Pull into the resort, hotel rooms, everything. Guy could, anything you guys want. You're the kings here. We teach you, like, I got like a bad accent going here. I sound more Saudi Arabian than I do El Salvador, but it's just the accent's going on. Anything we want, girls, drugs, whatever you want, you're going to get it. So, okay, this is a little weird, but all right. But we have to stay with these guys because the other cartels might choose to kill us or kidnap us because they're jealous that he's putting on this show. So the first night we're there, we end up being taken to this fantastic restaurant, great food, everything. All right, great. We go back to the hotel. So the cartel boss, the head guy, he comes up and he's everything you ever imagined everything you ever saw in a bad cartel drug movie, this was the guy. And,
right.
You know, the head guy in Narcos, this is that guy. He's got on the suit that he looks like he's trying to be important, but you know it's a bad suit. He's got the gold chain. He's got the hat. He's got that whole image of what he thinks wealth in America is what he's dressing like. But in the end, he just looks like a pimp from the 70s. Like
right.
But you knew, you're like, oh, this is the man. Hey, my friends, we go. Hey, I take you to the house. Okay, what the hell's the house? Again, my life, the Greek tragedy. It's a whorehouse. It's a prostitute house, but it's a bar, nightclub that has hookers. Now, if you've ever been to El Salvador, okay, no, God bless you. El Salvadorian people, specifically the women, they're all 4'9".
I don't know why I should have started there. I mean,
they all look exactly the same. They're all 4'9". They have no tits, no ass, long dark hair, brown skin. Not ethnic brown like black, but just darker skin, like really dark Latino skin. They all look exactly the same. Now, in my career, in my life, obviously, I've been with porn girl. And, this is not my speed. This is like, I'm not into this. This is like, But it's hilarious.
Hot chicks that want to have sex, you're not into. Were you wearing the pink shirt? Sorry, go ahead. I'm just fucking with you. Go ahead.
I'm going to talk to your girlfriend later. Make sure you get your ass whooped really good tonight. Anyhow, so we're at this nightclub, bar, whorehouse deal. So I got my buddy with me. He's wrestler for a few years, been around. He's never really traveled the world, never really left his backyard. So he's all excited. And
he's thrilled.
He's like, oh, this is great. This is great. So we're sitting there having a couple drinks and I'm talking to the big cartel guy and I'm just having whatever kind of conversation we were having. And my buddy comes running up to me. He goes, dude, every chick in here, it's only $25 to have sex with them. I said, dude, any girl's only charging you $25 to have sex, I think you need to question that. He's like, brother, I don't care, but listen, can I borrow $50 from you? Throughout the night, he has now.
That's a lot of money in El Salvador, I'm sure.
I have no doubt. I don't know what money in El Salvador is like because, again, we never had to spend a dime. So I have no concept. I'm sure down there it is. I'm sure it is. I'm sure that may be like $200. I don't know. Throughout the night, he just keeps disappearing because apparently you go up some stairs and there's this upstairs area that's where I've never went up there. He literally every 20 minutes he'd come back down. Yo, can I get another 50?
Jeez.
Like back up again. And this goes on. We're there for like 5 hours. By the time we leave the place, he's into me for almost $1,000.
Are you fucking serious?
I had to actually ask him, was there any girl in the place that you didn't have sex with? And he goes, oh no, I had it with all of them. Some of them 2 at a time.
Jesus.
My next question.
What kind of medication's he on?
You had a condom, right?
Oh, no.
Oh no, man, I barebacked that shit.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so we're gonna go see
A risk taker.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna drop you off at the doctor's when we get home because at the very least you're gonna need a penicillin shot.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Let's hope that's all it is.
Yeah.
You know, let's hope penicillin's gonna clear this up for you. So this is just the first night there. We're there for like 7 days. You know, we're doing this like 3-tour deal because we're doing El Salvador, Guatemala. We were supposed to go to Costa Rica, never happened because the rainy season really hit in. This was the first time I've ever been there. Every night, you know, it was like we're at the hotel. The resort was awesome. The hotel was great. Like you really had no need to leave the resort. You had everything that you need. My buddy every night would borrow $100 from me and take a cab. He would like the bodyguards didn't want to go anymore. He would take a cab and go there. Like every night he was there. Like I don't know how the kid wrestled.
He'd find a brothel and
it just whatever it was because it was $25 everywhere. So it turns out like the 5th night we're there. I don't know exactly the details, but 2 of the cartels apparently got into a gunfight in like downtown El Salvador. And they're just, it was just this whole big thing on the news. And one of the cartels was the cartel that was putting it on for us. And out of nowhere, like the middle of the night, the bodyguards come rushing in and talk, we gotta go. It's like 2 a.m. in the morning. We gotta go, pack yourself, we gotta go. The fuck you mean we gotta go? We gotta go now. Get in the cars and throw us in the cars. And I'm like, oh, that's it. We're being kidnapped. We're gonna get ransomed off. We're dead. You know,
Right.
It's over. We're done, you know? They end up taking us back to El Jefe's house, which is all I ended up calling him. His place, which is like a fucking fortress.
right.
And this is where we have to stay now because they're all worried that we're going to get shot or killed or kidnapped because of this whole gunfight thing.
Right.
So this is, you know, we end up doing all the shows, great time, got the money, fantastic, guy's wonderful. The day before we're going back, he comes in and his number 2 guy comes in, stands in the lobby with us. He goes, now you all understand that everything you saw here and everything that was done for you, this is not for the ears of the DEA. No problem, bro. It's all good. We're happy. No, seriously, we know where you live. I'll be moving when we get home. Don't worry. Now, cool thing is, I've done this tour for 6 years now. Ever since then, love this tour. Great. Every time we go down there, it's like that though. South America, wow. Like Costa Rica is nice. Like the resort area is nice, but like South America is wild. So it's every time I'm very well known down there now. I keep getting asked to go back. I also do Dominican Republic a lot, which is a whole nother, like whatever's going on over there, I have no idea. I've gotten to become very well known down there. So I go down there now. Now because I'm well known down there, I have to have extra security because the fans, honest to God, believe that the wrestling is real.
Right.
So when I beat up the local El Salvadorian wrestler,
They want to hurt you?
they want to stab me in the parking lot. The fans, they're like, we kill you in the parking lot. We come and get you, they'll stab you with a knife. And they're out there, and the bodyguard's like, stay between us. We're all right. It's good. And I'm like, it's not real. It's all right. It's good. You know, they don't care. They think it's real.
Do you ever go to Venezuela?
Once, and yeah, that's another. Again, all these countries down there, it's all the same kind of like. Even Colombia was like we were there for a cartel guy. I mean, these are the people that run these countries, you know, and they're the ones putting on the entertainment for everybody, and it is what it is. So any one of these little third world countries like that, we're there. We're not there for a businessman. Well, they're businessmen, but whatever, however you want to look at it. But everybody's guns and this and that, and you're all being protected, and it's ridiculous.
That's how my buddy Juan is Venezuelan. He said that's the exact same thing. I'm like, well, it's the government. And he was like, government there is not what it is here.
Yeah, it's
a little different.
like,
it's a little more brutal. Brutal?
Yeah, they don't have elections. They just have killings.
Yeah.
We don't like you. Boom, you're not getting a job. I mean, it's crazy. And it's funny, and I talk about South America because it's, as wrestlers, as entertainers, I would guess any celebrity going down there, they hate Americans because we're everything they don't have.
Right.
But as entertainers, they love us.
Yeah.
Like we are like gods to them. It's amazing how just the veneer of that glamour of being up on stage or being in wrestling or being a movie star, I'm assuming, it's okay you're American because you're you.
Yeah,
It's like, wow, you people priorities are really out of whack here, but it is what it is. Like the cartel people, we hate Americans, we spit on them, they come down here, we shoot them, we kill them. But you guys are okay, we love you.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm as American as you get. I'm from South Philadelphia. I mean, come on, if you're gonna hate an American, you're gonna hate me. But it's weird. It's incredible. So this is, I don't know, where am I at now? I'm probably my mid-40s, early 40s, been doing this, traveling, great wrestling stories, a lot of cool stuff happening. Getting old though. It's starting to hurt a little bit more than it used to, starting to accrue more injuries. I've broken every bone at least once. I'm now currently walking around with a floating rib that just never healed from broken ribs. And every time I take a bump, it's like a bullet goes right through you. He's looking at me like, why are you still doing this?
Yeah, well, I was going to say.
My hips.
You can't really get that fixed, right? Because can they do like a surgery, but then you have to be immobile or something for a certain period of time?
You do what's called a fusion surgery. Now it's actually much simpler than it used to be. They actually just go in with little itty bitty lasers and they set you right, and they just fuse the bone back into the socket that it's not sitting in anymore. And it's basically, it's actually a very non-invasive surgery.
It doesn't sound painful at all.
No, not at all. But you're immobile for a few months after that. And, I've just kind of gotten to the point where I know I'm not going to be wrestling, for much longer. I always said, my first goal was like 55, a couple years away from 50. Now I'm really thinking like, probably 52 is going to be it for me. And my matches have gotten a lot less,
physical.
Athletic and physical. I really try not to take as many bumps, but I do. So yeah, just the point of, now I'm starting to get older. I'm starting to feel it. I know it's coming to an end, but, we talked about it earlier where you love this business. You suffered through the bullshit to be where you are now because it's in your blood and you can't be without it. And I constantly say to everybody all the time, it's one of my big jokes where I could have bought a boat.
Yeah.
I just, what am I doing this for? I could buy a boat. I could be fishing right now. I could be drinking a beer on a boat fishing somewhere. Yet I choose to be in a wrestling ring getting slammed around by a 25-year-old guy, and I'm in my late 40s, and It hurts every time. Like there's never a moment anymore where there's no pain. Heather, who's sitting there off camera, loves to make fun of the way I walk. Hey, I don't know if you guys picked that up. She's, oh my God, out in the background. Yeah. Because my hips have separated. This is a common thing for wrestlers as we get older. Because you're landing on your back so often, your hips will begin to spread and separate. So, and you're going to see it when I stand up from this chair for like the first 10 steps, I'm going to waddle like a duck because my hips are just out of alignment and it takes a second to get my body back upright again and be able to move properly. And this is a common thing. I wake up in the morning with this, I get out of bed. If I sit in a chair too long, I get up, I walk like this. Driving in the car, I get out of the car, I got to lean on the car for a minute and just push my hips forward to get them right. This is part of, this is what old wrestlers, this is what happens to us. Our bodies, I don't know, I guess it's true. There's somebody told me years ago that every time you see a wrestler take a bump on his back in the ring, that is the equivalent of being in a car accident at 25 miles an hour, getting rear-ended.
All right.
We do this
over and over and over
10,
again.
20, 30 times in a match.
Yeah.
So we're constantly in this 25-mile-an-hour car accident repeatedly, over and over and over again, snapping your neck against the mat, banging your back. Do this for 20, 30 years. What's your body going to be like at the end of this?
Right.
Where are you going to be? So I'm coming into that time in my life where it's like, wow, it just like they're used to, and you guys aren't going to believe this after everything I've said, but I'm not a guy who used drugs.
Right.
I was never. Was there a period in my time when I was young where cocaine and whiskey was fun? Sure. But well past that era, I never got into the painkillers. I've always been that natural kind of trainer, which is part of why I attribute to my age that I'm still able to go like I am, because I never got into that dependency where I needed that, because I feel that in the long run, that actually does more adverse stuff to your body than positive.
Yeah, it's detrimental.
Right. And I always felt that I wanted to feel the pain because at least then I understood if I was doing more damage to myself. I wanted to know what was hurting. Because if I don't feel it, I might hurt myself more and not realize it. I want to know. So I've stuck with that. So I never got into the painkillers. I never got into, anything like that at all. I train naturally. I take vitamins and drink protein shakes, but I don't even take steroids. I've never did my entire life. Well, I did clenbuterol for a little while, but that's an asthma medication. It's good for you.
What that means. Okay, go ahead.
Clenbuterol is a steroid used by, it's the drug of movie stars. It's when movie stars have to get in shape for a big action role and they need to get ripped in like 2 months. Clenbuterol is an over-the-counter it's a prescription drug that's not legal in the U.S., but it's actually an asthma medication for people who are asthmatic.
Right.
The side effects, if it's taken at a certain amount over the prescription level, is that it is a muscle growth development too, because what it does as an asthma medication is it helps the muscles and the fibers in your lungs grow so that you can breathe better. Well, if you overdose this, it will help with your body. The side effect to it also is that it's a diuretic weight killer. So not only are you building muscle, you're burning fat taking this stuff.
Yeah, sounds like a miracle drug. Yeah.
This is what, like you talk about, hey, I just saw that movie star 3 weeks ago and now he looks like this. This is what Hollywood movie stars take while they're training to get in shape for movies and stay that way throughout the movies because they can't work out every day once they're filming.
Right.
But you got to keep looking good. So clenbuterol is what you take. Now, that being said, there's some downsides to it. It can cause a heart attack. There's a lot of things that it can do bad. Who cares? You look good. I always said I'm going to die. I'm going to be a good-looking corpse when I die.
Well, if the porn star house didn't kill you, you'll probably go on forever.
I hope so. That'd be nice. That was my price for living forever. I'm good with that. So I will admit that I took
You'd
that.
You'd probably complain.
I would.
Right? Can you believe I'm still going at
Heather's
90?
over there going, that's all he does is complain. He's never happy with anything.
150. When's it going to end? You don't know my pain.
I got this hot nurse taking care of me. She's scrubbing my nuts every day and I can't die. So at any rate,
but you don't want to get out of the
I don't want to get out of wrestling.
Right.
I don't. So, it got to a point where, and this brings us, right back to, UCW, Universal Championship Wrestling. I know my career's coming to an end. I know, the traveling, shit, man, being on a plane for 5 hours to 10 hours, driving 10 hours, it's like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this traveling to work for all these other companies anymore. I want to be home. I want to enjoy being home. I want to enjoy spending time with my friends. What's the option? Some people came to me and said, start our own wrestling promotion. I never wanted to do it in the past because I'm so disenfranchised with professional wrestling today. And I know that's hard to understand because I sit there and I say, I love it. And I want to do it. Wrestling in the last 20 years has drastically changed. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse. I can't answer that question. I come from a generation where wrestling was something different. And I loved what it was then. Maybe this is wrestling today, but I don't believe so. Because I've seen the difference in wrestling, the new way of wrestling and the old way of wrestling. And you're sitting there looking like you're confused what I'm talking about. We talked earlier about how wrestling was characters.
Yeah, well, when I was growing up, it was definitely character driven.
Heroes.
They were cartoon characters. They were like
comic
Superman
book characters.
We
were comic book characters. And we didn't do a lot of fancy moves, but what we did do counted. You picked the guy up, you slammed him, and it was a big deal, and it was this. Or you punched the guy, and it made something. Wrestling nowadays, you have these guys that are unbelievably athletic. I take nothing away from their athleticism. They're doing shit that I could have never done, even in my heyday. But I call it Cirque du Soleil wrestling. You go to a wrestling show now and you see these guys that get up on a top rope and they do 10 flips and a twist and this and that, and then they wrap the guy up and they roll and it's incredible. From an athletic point of view, it is phenomenal.
But it's super choreographed, right?
Incredibly choreographed, and it doesn't tell a story. I'm about to give away some secrets for wrestling here. And at this point, they're not really secrets that people know. A good wrestling match is a story. I said it's about the journey about good and evil.
Right.
If you watch a movie, the beginning of the movie introduces you to the characters. He's the good guy. He does something that good guys do. Here's the bad guy. We know he's the bad guy because he just killed somebody or he did something horrible. So we've introduced the characters. We understand the plot. The good guy and the bad guy have this issue. And we know this issue. The middle of the movie is the conflict. The good guy and the bad guy start going at each other. The bad guy's getting over. He's got all the better weapons, the better guys. It's always the good guy and the bad guy's got a whole army of people, or he's got the knowledge. The good guy doesn't know what's going on yet. He's trying to figure out. So the good guy's kind of getting his ass whooped a little bit through the middle of the movie. You know, he's taking his beating. He can't. No matter what he does, the bad guy just keeps getting away or getting over or getting on him. The good guy, now we come into right after the middle part of the movie where the good guy he's beaten down and he's distraught and he has that moment of clarity in his life where I got to pick myself up and I got to keep going because this is what the hero does. Win, lose, or draw, I'm going to confront the bad guy one more time. And whether I live or die, I'm doing it for the right reason. I'm going to go. And then we have the end of the movie, which is the final conflict, that moment where you just don't think the good guy's going to win, but you know somehow he gets the bad guy in a position and he wins. And now you have your climactic moment. You went through, you love the good guy, you hate the bad guy. Oh my God, I feel so bad for the good guy. He's getting his ass beaten. It's so bad. Oh yeah, here he comes. Yes, yes, he wins, yes. So you have that emotional ride. This is what a good movie does.
Right.
Or a good television show. A wrestling match is the exact same thing. I want to take you on an emotional journey. I want you, now Johnny Walker, myself, I'm a bad guy. My job is to make you hate me. The more you hate me, the more you're going to love the good guy. The more you're going to cheer for him, the more you're going to want him to win. But the good guy in all like movies just can't come out and whoop my ass right away. Who cheers for the guy who always wins? Even if he's a good guy, why do you cheer for him? You want to have sympathy for him. So what happens at the beginning of the match? I come out. Boom, bang, bang, boom, boom, boom. Hey, I'm Johnny Walker. You can't beat me. This punk can't do anything to me. Who are you? I'm taunting the audience. I'm taunting him. The middle of the match, good guy he's coming back a little bit, but every time he comes at me, gets one or two good moves in, bang, I knock him back down again. Boom, just can't do it. Finally, I've got him down, I've beaten him. Looks like I'm going to win this thing. I'm going to pin the good guy. I'm going to win this thing. Good guy kicks out that one last time where you remember the old Hulk Hogan Hulk up where he's losing the match and somebody punched him in the face and Hogan would do the whole start getting fired up and the audience starts getting fired up, man, the whole thing, and then bang, he gets the bad guy. This is a good wrestling match. This is a story. It's that emotional journey
right,
where you're invested in the character. You're invested in the match. Modern day wrestling has gotten away from this. The wrestlers have become so programmed in their minds where I'm going to get fame and glory by doing something incredible physically that nobody does. So they're all trying to outdo each other with this athleticism, but the story's not there. So you don't get emotionally invested in the wrestler. You know, I tell wrestlers this all the time, and it's very true, and I ask fans this too. Fans never remember anything that happens in the match. They remember the end. They will sit there and say, that was the greatest match I ever saw. And I'll say, tell me one thing that happened in the middle of the match. Well, yeah, no, I don't remember. Tell me how the match finished. Oh, he picked him up and gave him a giant pile driver off the top rope and pinned him. They remember the emotional aspect of the match, but they can't tell you the moves.
right.
The only thing they remember is the end, the finish, the punchline. That move is what they remember. But they remember the emotional ride through the whole thing. Modern wrestling has lost that. Because there's no emotional attachment, you can't get emotionally involved in the match. And if you still asked a wrestling fan, what happened in the middle of that match? They'll go, oh, well, they did this flippy thing and he flopped over here. They can't tell you what it was. Primarily also because there's and I'm sure you understand this, there's an anticipation to anything. Excitement is anticipation. Excitement is, you know, it's going to happen soon. It's going to happen soon. If I was to punch a guy in the face 10 times really quick, or if I grab him by the face and I pull my fist back and I'm selling it and I'm waiting and you know I'm going to punch him sooner or later and you're sitting there, when's he going to punch him? And I'm selling the fist and I'm holding it up in the air and I'm doing, and I'm, yeah, you're mine. And then 15 seconds later, I punch him once. I gave you that anticipation. I gave you that emotional thrill of, here it comes, but it's not yet. And oh my God, look at him selling it, as opposed to just, there's no emotional attachment to it. There's no anticipation, which creates that excitement in you or that anxiety in you,
right,
depending on how you look at it. Wrestling is incredibly psychological. There's a psychology to it. It's entertainment. We're telling a whole 2-hour movie in 10 to 15 minutes. From finish to beginning, 10, 15 minutes, a 2-hour movie. I always equate it to, it's the Odyssey. It's the Iliad. It's a Greek tragedy. It's good versus evil. And there's triumphs and failures. And the hero has to go through the hero's journey.
Right.
You know, Star Wars, the hero's journey. You know, wrestling is the exact same thing. We're entertaining you. We're just not doing it on a silver screen. We're doing it in a ring, in a match. But I need you to love the good guy and I need you to hate me. And I need you to have sympathy for the good guy when I'm whooping his ass, and I need you to want that good guy to punish me at the end. I need to lose.
Right.
Or if I win, oh my God, the bad guy won. Well, now you want to come back next week because the good guy might get another shot at him.
Right.
This isn't the end of the story. The movie's not over. This is chapter 1. Now we're going to do it again. So now you're coming back. Wrestling's lost that. This is where I've become very disenfranchised. Again, I think these guys are incredibly athletic. I mean, like I said, it's unbelievable. And I call it Cirque du Soleil wrestling because to me it's Cirque du Soleil. These guys are doing stuff where it's like, wow. But if that's what you want to see, go to Cirque du Soleil. And I tell these guys all the time, I go, why don't you get into gymnastics? Why don't you go to Cirque du Soleil? Because this shit you're doing is insane. You know, like I started UCW with the idea of I want the 5-year-old kid in the front row to be able to understand exactly what we're doing. The moves can't be that complicated. The stories have to be very simple because I want to entertain dad who has that nostalgia of the 80s when he watched wrestling. But I want his son that he's brought with him to be able to find a hero to cheer for and hate the bad guy. And maybe he's a little bit too young to understand the hero's journey, but emotionally it's still there.
Right.
You feel that anxiety, you feel that excitement. That's how it's developed. So for me, it was really, really important when starting Universal Championship Wrestling that I found performers that understood how I wanted to do shows. Because each match in the show itself tells a whole story too. You know, each match is a chapter of the show, which is the whole story. And if matches are put together in the right order, and if the show is designed properly and the matches are designed properly, you've taken somebody on a 2-hour emotional ride from the first bell to the last bell. If you have done that for a fan, they will come back. They will say wonderful things about you. They will, you know, it becomes a thing. You know, this is what you want.
Right.
You know, people loved Star Wars, so they went to go see Empire Strikes Back. They were disappointed in Empire Strikes Back because the heroes lost. So they came back to watch Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Where you got the payoff. Luke won, killed the Emperor. Okay. All great stories are told this way. I mean, the movies were bad, the scripts were horrible, but the story was great. The emotional ride was there. Every Marvel movie in the last 20 years has been this. Tony Ark for 20 years was the hero's journey. He's an arrogant son of a bitch in the beginning, but you know he's the good guy, finds a heart, finds this, survives this. All of a sudden at the very end, he does what he didn't do in the first movie, sacrifice himself for everybody else. This is the hero's journey. Wrestling's the same thing. If I can tell that story, it doesn't matter if you're a fan or not. If you're sitting there and you're watching this, emotionally, mentally, you become involved. I have so many people that have come to UCW, had never been to a wrestling show in their entire lives. They came because they saw the advertisement, you know, it was something to do. You know, our tickets are reasonably priced for the family. It's great. There's a wonderful restaurant behind the building where we do the shows. People would come in, hey, well, we'll go over and watch the wrestling. Never fans before have come up to me if they're in the shows and goes, oh my God, I'm going to come to the next show. I never watched this. I always thought it was stupid growing up. I never paid attention to it. I never understood it. Now they're fans coming to every show. They're buying T-shirts.
Right.
They're buying, it's because it's not about being an actual fan of the wrestling. It's about getting into the story and appreciating the story of what we're telling and that emotional ride that we can take you on. Modern day wrestling has lost that. It's what I'm trying to do with UCW, and apparently I'm being successful with it.
Right.
You know, we have an incredibly loyal fan base. Every time we get a new fan, they stay. Every time we get a new fan, they tell 5 more people about it. You know, our product has been, the truth of the matter is I'm hated in the state of Florida now by other wrestling promoters. I came out of the gate with this. We did great from North Girl. Like I said, what business doesn't take a loss on day one? Every great business takes a loss from day one. It's just, it's how it is.
Typically you lose for about 2 years, right?
I haven't lost $1 yet.
I think the average restaurant loses for, is it 3 to 5 years?
It's almost 3 to 5 years, and you can lose almost, at that point, you're probably into it for a little bit more than 600% of your initial investment is generally the stake there. I haven't lost a dime since the day we opened this. And I'm a businessman. I ran clubs, nightclubs. I know all of this.
Right.
I'm sitting here in shock. I haven't lost a dime. We've broken even out of the first 5 shows. The 6th show, we actually made a little bit of money. I'm thinking to myself, okay.
Just starting to work.
Like, what the hell's going on here? Like, I fully went into this expecting to constantly be putting money into it.
Right.
For the first 6 months to a year. I'm like, okay, and after a year, I had to reevaluate and see, are we losing less?
Right.
Or are we on a road? I'm sitting here now flabbergasted trying to do my books because I'm like, okay, everything we're doing is working because we haven't lost a dime. So what do you do? Like, what do I fix? So now it's just taking what we have and making it bigger. I want to bring this style of wrestling back to the wrestling fans and back to the overall community. Because I think that this is what people, you know, I talk about WrestleMania 1, and I talk about the biggest WrestleMania that they had at the Astrodome, where there were almost 150,000 live fans at that show. And you even look at WrestleMania today, where they're getting 80, 90,000 fans and 5 million viewers worldwide every Monday and Friday. So the audience is still there. People still love wrestling, and they watch it because it's what they know. But if you talk to the average wrestling fan, they tell you, yeah, I just can't get into the characters these days, and I can't really, blah, 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 blah. I want to bring back that story. I want to bring it back to when, it was emotional and you loved it. And I think that's what's working for us. I honestly God believe. And we have such wonderful characters. Boone the Gator King. He's a swamp buggy guy. He speaks with this weird accent. He's a strange fellow. He got a head injury. He's been wrestling with a head injury for months now. And for whatever reason, he can't lose. He keeps winning. He's not a good guy. He's not a nice guy. Yet he had fans show up at our last show where they made gator hats. It was hilarious. There were like 20 of them that walked in with these giant gator hats. And it was because they loved this character. He was telling this great story of this idiot guy who is unshaven. He actually has not physically well. He's not built well at all. He's horribly built. He wears slobbing clothes. He's not. He looks like a swamp dude. He looks like your Uncle Fred that lives out in the middle of the swamp. But people love the idea that he had this head injury and he comes out with a head wrap on, bandage on his head, and he wrestles and he keeps winning by accident. This is the story. The fans are invested in it. Right. Brian Idol, who's been a famous wrestler on the circuit for many years. People love to hate this guy. Brian Idol might be the second most hated guy in our company next to me. Brian is just this fantastic showman who you want to hate him. You look at Brian, he's one of those guys that you just look at and you go, I just want to punch you in the face. I don't know why. I haven't even talked to you yet, but I want to punch you in the face.
Right.
He's that guy, So this is the excitement for me about what wrestling is. We're entertainers. I want to entertain. I want to put on a show that the fans are happy about because for me and everything I've done in my entire career, money has been the byproduct of the success from my love of what I do. I loved being an entertainment consultant. So I made a lot of money at it because I loved it. I had a passion for it. I loved having the porn business. So it made money. Okay, it's for a lot of reasons I love the porn business. I made a lot of money at it because I had a passion for it. I've always been successful in wrestling because I had a passion for it. It was never about how much am I getting paid. It was about how great of a match could we put on, that passion. UCW, Universal Championship Wrestling, is the same thing for me. Yes, I would love it to turn a profit. I'm a businessman.
All right.
But for me, it's the love of it, the passion for it. And if I'm putting on shows where the fans are coming up to us telling us how great we are, then for me, it's a success. Money will be a byproduct of that success. I'm not worried about that. I want to put on that great show. I want kids. I love watching kids leave the show like, they're all fired up and they're excited. They're getting autographs from the wrestlers and pictures. And I love that. I love having fans hate me. I am the most arrogant, self-righteous son of a bitch in the professional wrestling world.
I can see that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I love having fans hate me. I feel like I haven't done my job if at least 2 fans haven't thrown something at me or tried to spit on me before the end of a show. I love that. I'm all about it. Because at the end of the day, your wife still likes me better than you. I promise you that. At any rate, this for me is what it's about. So this is where UCW came from. This is where the concept came from. And, we've been at it now for about a half a year. We've seen great success. And we're looking to hopefully start bringing it to the masses down the road. We're looking for larger platforms to be able to not only broadcast the shows in certain ways, but hopefully I'd like to do some traveling. I'd like to take the show on tour down the road and be able to film it and broadcast it on certain platforms.
Okay.
So for us, it really is a passion. If anybody's interested in finding out more about us or getting a hold of us, our social media is at UCW Florida. For everything.
Okay.
Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, at UCW Florida.
Connor will put it in the description.
Okay.
So it'll be in the description
Excellent.
of the video.
Our website is currently under construction. We've been looking for a good company that's going to be able to handle our website for us and have it at the level that we want it to be at. But you can go to ucwworld.com right now, which will take you to our ticket selling page, which tells you a lot about the shows that we're doing. We plan on having a very interactive fan experience website set up in the very near future. It's very important to me that
is that being built now by somebody, or are you looking for somebody?
We are.
They'll have because if you put if we put your email address in the description, you'll have 10 or 20 guys that'll.
We are absolutely looking for somebody, and more than happy to have the email address in the description. I'll give you a couple different emails you can use. So yeah, we're looking for, because I want somebody who can manage it for us also and be able to make up, because it's going to be very interactive. So I want to keep it up to date. And because we changed the shows, the content's going to change a lot.
Right.
So it's important for us that it works and it makes sense. But we're having a wonderful time. I mean, you're a local guy. I'd love to have you come down and see a show.
No, I'm coming to
Coming
this
down,
show.
coming down to this one?
I'm
Okay.
coming down
Well,
to.
I don't know what, you got to run things by your girlfriend because she makes all the rules in your
She's coming.
relationship.
I
Okay.
can't go by myself.
Can't go by, I didn't know if she'd take you or not.
No, she's going to be there to protect me.
Okay, good. So yeah, February 20th is our next show in Palmetto, Florida. Galactic Destruction. Now, yeah, you looked at it earlier and said, Galactic Destruction, what does that mean? Well, we're Universal Championship Wrestling. Every single one of our show titles has something to do with the universe. Our last show was called Supernova. The show before that was called Starfire. Our main event of the year, our WrestleMania every year. What are you laughing at? That wasn't, what?
All of this.
All of this? Our main event of the year is the only one that doesn't have a name after the universe, but we stole it, and I'm about to get sued for copyright infringement, I'm sure. Our main event of the year is called Masters of the Universe.
Okay.
Anybody out there who knows where that comes from, cool. If not, keep your mouth shut. I don't need to get sued by Hasbro. Anyhow, they can't because it's all right. But so all of our names, and this is, again, I wanted to have names that people were going to remember.
Right.
I wanted to have, like, everybody uses, it's Halloween, so what are we going to call our show? Halloween Havoc.
Right.
Every fucking pro wrestling promotion in the world does that. Oh, it's Christmas. What is it? Seasons Beatings. Valentine's Day, Bloody Valentine. Every promotion out there. This is the unoriginalness of all of these owners out there right now. And I don't care. I'm going to say it. There is a flood of wrestling promotions out there. I call them mom and pop backyard wrestling. They're all over. Everybody's running a show every weekend somewhere. But it is a fan. A guy who was a fan his whole life. I'm going to open up a wrestling promotion because I love wrestling. What the hell do you know about the business? You sat in the audience, you watched it. Do you know how to run a company? Do you have any business experience? Do you understand the psychology of wrestling? You get no respect from the wrestlers because you weren't one of us. You didn't grow up in this business. So they come in and the wrestlers do whatever they want to do. You don't know how there are so many of these shows. And that's what I'm saying. They're so unoriginal. They all use the same names. Caesar's Beating, Halloween Havoc, Bloody Valentine, whatever, 4th of July Bang. They all use these same horrible names. I said, we're going to do something different. I'm going to have a theme. We're Universal Championship Wrestling. Let's stick with the universe.
Right.
We're not just Earth. We're the world. We're the universe. Let's stick with cool names. And people remember our names. They've never heard it. Galactic Destruction, Starfire, Supernova, Masters of the Universe. What a great name for a WrestleMania. Masters of the Universe. I love that name. Brings out the child in me again. So for me, it's about giving fans wrestling that they deserve. You deserve better than these backyard wrestlers or these marks. We call the fans that own businesses, they're called marks, M-A-R-K-S, marks in quotation. They're called a mark. You're like a mark, a target.
Right.
Then these marks that open up these wrestling companies and have no freaking clue, have no idea what they're doing. And their shows suck and they get 10, 20 people. We went to a show a couple of months ago where the guy paid $1,000 to rent out a civic center, had 50 people in the audience. He probably lost $2,000, but he thinks it was successful because he had 30 people.
Right.
The wrestling was horrid. We were there because I wanted to see one wrestler. There was one guy wrestling, a young kid that I wanted to look at because I was thinking about bringing him into our show, and I eventually did. But the rest of the show was like, I could have slept through this show. There was no entertainment value. There was no, when you come to our show, we have a stage entrance. We have lighting effects. We have wonderful DJ music. We have, our people are doing things professionally and being professional with it. And they're there to want to entertain you. The wrestlers aren't there just doing matches to do matches. It's very important that we entertain people and we give you that ride.
Right.
You go to an amusement park, right? Because you want to be thrilled. You come to a wrestling show because you want to be thrilled. It is important to me that you get that.
Okay.
So this is what Universal Championship Wrestling is all about for me and all about for our fans. It's an opportunity to see wrestling as it was meant to be.
All right.
Since its conception in the Carney days, back in the 1920s, this is what wrestling always was, entertaining people. And that's what we're doing now. And I'm very proud of it. And I think everybody who comes and checks it out or takes a look at us will be very pleasantly surprised and happy too. And we'll become a fan forever.
Right. Well, cool. I'm going to go on the 20th. And so that's it. Or what, is there anything else? I mean, I think we got it. We're good.
I mean, I've got a million other stories I could tell, but there's only so much time in the day, and
Another time, I'm going to be here. Hey, so if you like the video, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified, share the video to all your friends and family, leave a comment in the comment section for the algorithm, and if you want to know more about a galactic destruction
Universal Championship Wrestling.
Universal Championship.
Oh my God.
Wrestling. Then check the description. All right, that's it. See ya.